Luzon and the others returned from the ruins victorious, delivering an assortment of minor relics to the local abbey. The faithful flocked from all around, many of them availing themselves of the services the priest had to offer, while the more pragmatic or jaded of the townsfolk stuck to spending their time at the local tavern. I spent some time mingling at the abbey, but the demands of lordship soon called me away. Another wagon had arrived, and more strangers had arrived with it. I was met at the coach house by an enthusiastic woman named Dakrim, a self-proclaimed antiquarian who had heard about the relics that had recently been discovered. While she was certainly no warrior, she assured me that if I could provide her with an armed escort, she would make us both very rich. The other new arrival was a heavily clad plague doctor. His voice was muffled by heavy cloth and his distinctive mask, but I managed to make out that his name was Cavendish. He had apparently been summoned to help Rowan with his research, so he didn't linger at the coach house for long. Afterwards, I met with Carl. The old crusader had served me well so far, and he had refused any form of payment. In an effort to find some way to compensate him, I had arranged to have one of his old war wounds treated by the sisters at the sanitarium. The medical expenses were quite steep, but we both agreed that it was well worth the cost. Still, it did remind me that my coffers were not bottomless. The money my family had provided had long since been spent, and what little we had recovered during our expeditions was just barely enough to keep up with our expenses. I met with the antiquarian again, and after a short discussion, she picked out a spot in the warrens she felt would be well stocked with valuable antiquities. We had yet to explore those tunnels, so there was no telling what sort of threats they might contain. While they weren't particularly keen on being part of a treasure hunt, both Bunny and Istvan agreed to accompany Dakrim as a personal favor. We still needed one more warrior to act as an armed escort, and I was surprised to be approached by one of our more mysterious new arrivals, a one-handed desert nomad named Gwydden. Once the party had been assembled, I once again met with the caretaker to properly outfit the expedition. Like everything else in the hamlet, his prices were outrageous, but we had little choice if we wanted supplies. Hopefully Dakrim and the others would return with a veritable king's ransom, enough to make our money problems a thing of the past.
They breed quickly down there in the dark, but perhaps we can slay them even faster.
Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Episode 5. Today we're taking on our first adventure in the Warrens, which is probably my least favorite of the dungeons. The enemies here tend to be particularly obnoxious. Some of them cause stress, others cause disease. It's just a bad time all around. It also doesn't help that we're once again traveling with a party member who has the curious quirk.
Cruel machinations spring to life with a singular purpose.
Oh, but before we get into the dungeon proper, let's take a closer look at Bunny and Istvan, just to give you a better idea of what we're working with. Alright, let's head into the first room. There's nothing here, so let's double back to the main entrance. Oh, it looks like a trap has appeared ahead of us. Unfortunately, we didn't really bring anyone along to disarm traps. We'll just have to hope we get lucky. Well, so much for luck.
Ancient traps lie in wait, unsprung and thirsting for blood.
We really should have brought more bandages.
Such blockages are unsurprising. These tunnels predate even the earliest settlers.
Ah, they're starting us off with a pretty difficult bandit fight, and we're surprised. Fortunately, the shield breakers got a lot of attacks that let her quickly change position. Dakrim is up, And, like I said before, the antiquarian isn't much of a warrior, but that doesn't mean that she can't contribute. She has a lot of low-end abilities that can make a difference if used properly, and in this case we'll have her turn Gwydden into a tank. Bunny will start moving towards the rear of the party. And Istvan will start moving up. Well, pretty much everyone is bleeding. That's unfortunate. Let's see what Gwydden can do here. Whoops. Well, I clearly chose poorly because I just shuffled Bunny back to the front of the party. I'll have to be more careful about that in the future. Alright, let's start moving Bunny back again. Oof, and they are going right for her. That Rain of Whips move is also getting pretty obnoxious. We really need to put out some healing. Okay, now we can safely have Gwydden move back.
Well struck.
Nice. I think we're starting to turn this around. We'll have Dakrim finish off that cutthroat.
Continue the onslaught. Destroy them all.
Now, Gwydden could try to take out that Bloodletter, but I think we'll put her on the defensive instead. With the damage block status, she'll completely absorb the next two attacks that hit her.
The wounds of war can be healed, but never hidden.
Let's have our guys focus on defense for a moment. That way Bunny can toss out a little more healing. Nice. Now we'll take out that Fusilier.
Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
Well, I was hoping Bunny would go sooner, but let's finish this.
Prodigious size alone does not dissuade the sharpened blade.
We won, but we definitely took a beating. Let's eat some of our food to get our health back up to acceptable levels. Okay, I think we're done here. Let's move on. Really, Bunny? I guess she did find some halfway decent loot, but in the future we really want our antiquarian to be the one opening these containers. Looks like another empty room. Let's backtrack to the entrance and explore the rest of the dungeon. Just 4 more rooms to go.
If only treasure could staunch the flow of otherworldly corruption.
Okay, these enemies are obnoxious, but they all have relatively low health. We'll try to mitigate their attacks and kill them as quickly as possible. Nice, we're off to a good start. Let's get some damage blocks up. Great, we're already picking up diseases. Let's see what Bunny just got infected with. Wow, that's definitely bad news, but it would have been a lot worse on one of our fighters.
Their formation is broken. Maintain the offensive.
Let's have her toss out some more healing. Actually, we're all in relatively good shape. Let's have her toss out a stun instead. Nice.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
Okay, let's just kill these guys so we can move on.
Executed with impunity. As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
There's a pile of bones ahead of us. It's been a while, but I think that requires holy water. Not bad. The loot certainly could have been better, but I'll take what I can get.
The light, the promise of safety.
Just 3 more rooms to go.
Mind that such missteps are the exception, and not the rule. Glittering gold, trinkets and baubles, paid for in blood.
Prepare yourself, heroes. Who knows what lies in wait behind this door?
The match is struck. A blazing star is born.
Huh. Interesting. There's just one more fight before we complete the quest, so we'll head straight there. We won't interact with any curios, we just want to kill those enemies. Afterwards, we'll douse our torches, and then we'll loot the containers. This is the last fight, so let's eat the rest of our food before we go in there. Our stress levels are pretty high, but otherwise I think we're in pretty good shape. Good luck, heroes.
As the light gains purchase, spirits are lifted, and purpose is made clear.
Oof. This is definitely one of the tougher fights we could have run into. They've got a tank and DPS up front, and 2 stressors hiding in the back. And poor Bunny just got infected with another disease. Let's see what this one does. Well, it's definitely not good, but it actually partially counteracts her other disease. That could have definitely been worse. Okay, let's get Gwydden on defense. Very nice. Istvan, please murder that drummer. Not bad. Close, but not quite enough. We'll have Bunny finish it off. Gwydden is really doing a great job as a tank. Dakrim will keep buffing her. Bunny will top off everyone's health. Now, we could have Gwydden finish off the pig butcher, but having her on defense seems to be working out for us.
Of war can be healed, but never hidden.
Whoops. Okay, our healer just got stunned. I guess we really should take out that butcher. Thank you, Istvan. Now we just need to kill the two in the back row.
Mortality clarified in a single strike.
Just had to get that last-minute crit, didn't they? Istvan is getting pretty stressed. He could definitely benefit from using Inspiring Cry. But I guess we should stay focused on finishing the fight.
Another abomination cleansed from our lands.
Alright, let's collect our loot, douse our torch, and collect some more loot.
Impressive haul, if you value such things.
This is a bit risky, of course. Darkness causes stress, and more enemies might spawn once we start backtracking, but hopefully it'll all be worth it.
The darkness holds much worse than mere trickery and boogeymen.
Not bad. Could have definitely been better, though. Bunny. Okay, well, that's one less container we get to loot.
Wealth beyond measure, awarded to the brave and the foolhardy alike. A handsome reward for a task well performed.
Alright, I think it's definitely time to go.
The requirements of survival cannot be met on an empty stomach. Their squeals fade. Their confidence is shaken.
Not a bad haul. I was certainly hoping for more, but at least we got a good item for Dakrim. Well, I guess they really want to go to the cove next. I'll keep that in mind, but for now, let's just get back to town. Despite the filth and fiends infesting the Warrens, Dakrim and the others managed to return in more or less intact condition. While they had not discovered nearly as many riches as I had hoped, they had still come back with more than enough valuables to justify the trip. I was actually tempted to send them out again, but the poor antiquarian was so frazzled that it would be quite some time before she was ready to mount another expedition. Little had occurred in their absence. Most of the recruits had simply spent the week recovering. The Houndmaster Anuchit had apparently gone off on some sort of ill-advised vision quest, and Purge had been growing increasingly fitful and restless as of late. Of far more concern were the damnable waves of vermin that seemed to be pouring into the hamlet. Rowan's investigation had stretched out over 2 weeks now, and it was finally getting results. One of his assistants had managed to track the source of the infestation to the old gardens on the western edge of the estate. I set about assembling a party to accompany Rowan into the courtyard in hopes that they might find some way to deal with the insects at their source. Unfortunately, many of our men were indisposed. Some had sequestered themselves in the old abbey, seeking to soothe their troubled thoughts with the trappings of faith. Others had instead retired to the sanitarium in hopes of treating the diseases that ravaged their minds and bodies. Rowan himself scared off most of the recruits with his rambling about the strange diseases that these vermin carried, but eventually I managed to assemble a full party. Roderick agreed to go out of loyalty, while Henrik was lured in with the promise of occult treasures. The fourth member of the expedition was the leper, Alistair Gardwin. I guess, given his condition, he had little to fear from whatever the vermin might infect him with. With the party assembled, I wished them luck and quickly ushered them off towards their destination. I had my concerns about their safety, of course, but the recent pestilence had stretched my patience to the breaking point. Rowan and the others had to find some way to put an end to this infestation, or I would have no choice but to burn the courtyards to the ground.
The courtyard and gardens surrounding the manor were once a point of pride for the diligent custodians I employed. Great banquets and lavish social affairs were hosted here under the stars. Despite the expectation of propriety normally ascribed to those in our position, we mocked the stoic melancholy of the moss-covered fountains and cherubic statues, our salacious trysts half hidden in the hedgerows, our morality slipping ever deeper into the mud. Soaked and sinking, these stone terraces and sprawling gardens were the site of long-forgotten revelry and well-remembered regret.
And welcome back. Against my better judgment, I decided it was finally time to pay a visit to the courtyard. While I've played most of the content before, the Crimson Court DLC is actually almost completely new to me, so expect to see a lot of trial and error. Let's have a quick look at our heroes. And with that out of the way, let's head into the unknown. Good luck, heroes. There's a pile of weird vampire bones. I'm not sure what object to use, so let's start with the shovel. Okay, no luck there. Let's try bandages. There we go.
A handsome reward for a task well performed.
I also have no idea what this bloodlight is. I guess I'll have to look that up later. Okay, we're up against our first Crimson Court enemies, and they appear to be hideous bug monsters. With the advantage of surprise, we should be able to kill them pretty quickly.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles. Obliterated.
Well, that was easy.
Success so clearly in view. Or is it merely a trick of the light?
Okay, now this fight looks like it might be a bit trickier. I guess we'll start by tossing out a stun. Oof, no luck there. Okay, so the mosquitoes cause stress. Good to know. These guys also seem very vulnerable to bleeding damage.
press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
Ah, the Crimson Curse. Well, I was hoping to put that off a bit longer, but I guess if anyone was going to get it, it's fitting that it's Alistair. Again, that's something I'm going to have to do a little research into. I just thought it might be more fun to go into this first run without really knowing what I'm doing. At least now we have a use for all that blood we've been collecting. Let's kill these last two supplicants and move on. Whoops. Well, that was a misclick. I clearly meant to attack the other one. Sorry about that, Roderick. There we go. Good as new.
A death by inches.
There's some more delicious blood for Alistair.
Ornaments. Neatly ordered. Lovingly admired.
Alright, that's one nest down, just two more to go. Of course, given how maps work in the courtyard, we have no idea how many more rooms there are ahead of us. A pot of flowers. I have no idea what to do with that. Can I burn it? Apparently not. Well, they are called blood flowers. I guess I could give them some blood. I hate to waste it, but I should try it at least once. Okay then. At least we know what not to do next time. This next room is another curio room. If we're lucky, it'll end up being the second nest we need to burn. Of course, that means we probably need to get ready for another fight. Well, what is that? It's like some sort of hideous pulsing egg. Well, we're here to burn things, so let's burn it. Ah, so that acts as a powerful stress heal. Good to know. This looks like a pretty easy fight. Let's see if we can take them out without being hit. We're definitely not off to a good start here. Alright, Alistair, we're counting on you. Of course. See, Alistair, this is what happens when you don't murder everything in front of you. Roderick, could you please hit one of these things? Thank you.
Their formation is broken. Maintain the offensive.
Of course, now everyone's hitting. I guess they didn't want the highwaymen to show them up.
Slowly, gently. This is how a life is taken.
We've just hit the 30-minute mark, and I have no idea how much deeper this dungeon goes. Let's go ahead and wrap up the session, and we'll pick up here next time.